You will never find time for anything. If you want time, you must make it. Finding time is a common struggle everyone suffers from. But if we all looked at our life, if we really looked, we will find that not having enough time is the second constant in life. You didn't have enough time to do all the things you wanted to do or have in the past. You're not having enough time right now. And guess what? You will not have enough time to do all the things you want in the future too. But there is a solution for this. It is to treat your time as you treat or should treat your budget. What do you do with your budget? You plan how it's going to be spent in advance. And when things get off course, you regroup, revise, analyze, and course correct again, right? At least this is how you should treat your budget. Same applies to your time. You should plan how you're going to spend your 10,080 minutes per week. How much will be spent on sleeping, eating, working, playing, socializing, and so on. By doing so, you stay ahead of the productivity game. You know how your days are going to be spent, how much emergency time fund you have for interruptions. In another way, you spend the day achieving. In this 5th lecture of this course, you will know some time tools to manage your time and spend it the best way possible. Welcome to Wellbeing Toolkit, empowering you with the right tools so you can apply, achieve what you need, and upgrade your life. And if this is what you need, then join us. This is the 5th lecture in this productivity tools course. First, we talked about the basics. Then we moved to the main productivity toolkits, starting by journaling and note-taking, then the to-do list toolkit, and now we are in the time toolkit. The main purpose of the time toolkit is to manage time by doing 3 things: schedule, minimize, and avail. It will allow you to schedule your time the best way possible. You will be able to minimize distractions, and thus you'll avail more time. Think about it. If you minimize distractions, you create time. If you schedule time for tasks, then you have more focus to do them, and hence you might finish them earlier than the scheduled time. This gives rise to 4 outcomes. So the first one is you lower your stress levels. What interruptions do to you is they increase your workload, they create more time and effort pressure. So now that you are interrupted, you have more tasks, you have limited time, you have to pay more effort to finish them. This gives rise to higher frustration, and this increases stress, or worse, maybe burnout. After you get interrupted, you try to finish things faster. What might happen or may happen is you finish those things with errors. And I'm going to let you decide on the consequences of those errors. The second outcome from learning how to manage your time is you can save up to 40% of your productivity. Studies shows that switching between tasks only take 1/10 of a second, yet when combined at the end of the day, it can cost you around 40% of your productivity. Third outcome is you'll be able to spend your time wisely. Again, studies shows that it takes you around 23 minutes to get your focus back after you get interrupted. Finally, it eliminates errors. A study done by Carrie Stuttgart and her group called the attention cost of receiving a cell phone notification. They did a study to a group of people to test their focus using a computer game. So they did it once and measured their baseline, and then they did it again, but this time they divided the group into 3 ones. The first one received a phone call during the computer game. The second one received texting, and the third one was the control group receiving no distractions at all. They found out that the first group, the one that was distracted by a phone call, had 28% more errors than the rest of the groups. The second group, the one that received the texting distraction, had 23% more errors than the rest. So moving to the specific criteria, I'm going to refer to it in the tools themselves. So we have 2 main tools in this toolkit. The first one is the time boosters, and the second one is the time management. For the time boosters tools, we have the time gaining and then time savers. What I mean by time gaining is the tools that will help you gain more time. The first one is speed writing. So my recommendation is to learn how to speed your handwriting and also to speed your writing on the keyboard. And one of the best tools that I personally used was Typing Master 10 program. It is free to use. It has free courses, so you can learn how to speed writing through the letters, the numbers. It gives you drills. And finally, you can have it in the background to test your speed offline or in your day-to-day activities. And as we mentioned in the previous lectures, speed writing can save you up to 20 days per year. The second recommendation after speed writing is using the shortcuts. Try to use the shortcuts in your mail application, in your programs, in your apps. Trust me, they give you time, even if they are seconds or minutes. And just to remind you that some studies show that using a shortcut can save you up to 8 days per year. The third recommendation here is using the widgets. If you're following our fourth principle from the basics to limit the tools, then you mostly have some of the applications on your phone. My recommendation is to use the widget for that application if possible. So moving to the time savers, here we're dealing with distractions, and distractions can be either internally or externally. Now, for the internal distractions, these are the distractions that come from within you, right? So you have two options to deal with them. The first one is without any app, and this is through self-training. You need to train yourself to be more focused at the tasks at hand. If you think meditation or yoga can help, then do it. But you need to train yourself to doing so. The second option is to use an assistance with certain apps. So the best app for this is Stop Procrastinating if you're using Windows, or an app called Self-Control if you're a Mac user. These apps freeze everything else from popping up or not allowing you to go to other windows until you finish the task at hand. So if you're writing a script and you need some assistance, you can use one of these programs. It will freeze anything else in the background, and you won't be able to switch off from writing until you actually finish that script. Moving to the other type of distractions, which is the external distractions. So these are notifications or your colleague buzzing in your office, etc. My recommendation is to limit all the notifications in your desktop, in your laptop, in your phone, and leave only the necessary ones. The second recommendation is to increase the focus. You can do that by either going to a closed or private space to finish the tasks. Maybe your company has like a do not disturb rooms, so you can use that. And my third recommendation for the external distractions is to deal with it. Either interact with it or educate. So interact with the person that came into your office. You are now out of focus anyway. So if you think it's better to interact and finish that interruption, then do it. But what happens if that person kept coming to the office? Or maybe it's not the same person, but different persons from the same department. Then this is a possibility that you can educate him or them that you need an hour of focus to finish the task at hand. Or you can teach them that your morning hours are not for interruptions unless for emergencies. So moving to the time management, we have the scheduling and we have the chunking. For scheduling, I mean the calendar, or what I call your time wallet. Your calendar could be physical using notebooks, as we discussed in the previous toolkits, journaling and note-taking, and to-do lists. For the people that decided to use pen and paper as their journaling or note-taking or to-do list managers, they need to have a section for their calendar too. Also, the calendar could be digitally. For the specific criteria for a calendar, it should have, of course, the time slots, down from the minute up to a year or maybe more years. For the digital calendars, this is easy. For the physical calendars, however, you can choose the time slots that are suitable to you. So you don't have to have minutes, or you don't have to have a calendar for the whole year. So how to use your calendar? If you're like me, I used to believe that I know how to use my calendar. Then I read the book Getting Things Done Fast by David Allen. Then I discovered that I wasn't using it right. So your calendar is for three things only: your meetings, time-related tasks, So these are the tasks that are bound to time. So you need to call your dad by Wednesday. You need to draft the presentation before Friday. You need to hear back from the client before Monday, etc. And third, your calendar is for time-related information. This is the birthday party. This is the event. This is the concert you're looking for. Other than those three things, meetings, time-related tasks, and time-related information, anything should be out of the calendar and in the to-do list toolkit. So if drafting the presentation isn't attached to a due date, then leave it on your to-do list. The other tool in the time management is chunking. What studies show over and over that increased focus and limited time per task increases your productivity. Setting a timeline for a task and minimizing that time below 60 minutes is proved to support your productivity. You can chunk finishing script task into finish the introduction, finish the main, and finish the closure. The best window of time you can work with is between 15 minutes up to 25 minutes. This is not carved in stone, so you can work with this window as seen fit. Personally, this window could be stretched up to 60 minutes for some tasks. If I'm in the flow, I have more focus. So why to break that cycle? If you like assistance in the chunking area, so you can use an app called Forest app, or simply you can use the clock timer in your phone. Set it for 15 minutes or 30 minutes and hit start. That was the end of our 5th lecture, which is the time toolkit. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the other toolkits to come, and until we meet, keep upgrading.